Today I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my last art market that did not go so well. I made $0. I sold one item, and that was one of my small $5 magnets, and the customer was my sister. So I ended up not even breaking even or making any money. I actually lost $5. It's really disappointing when you spend weeks. I mean, I spent probably a month making products for this market, and it can be really discouraging, especially when I had such high hopes. This was a farmer's market, is what it was labeled as, in a retirement home. So it was kind of an unusual market. I've never even heard of a farmer's market in a retirement home before, but they did a lot of advertising for it, and they had food trucks and all of that, and I had an indoor space. It sounded to me like a market that would be a good fit for me, especially because a lot of older people have told me that they love my art and the floral art that I do and the birds. And so I really did expect that I was going to get a lot of sales at this market. The market was last week, so it's been about 6 days. So I've had plenty of time to think over what went wrong, what I could do better, and what I've learned from this experience. One thing I saw online that was really encouraging, I saw a quote. It said that pretty much every artist, especially in the beginning, has one or two markets where they don't sell anything. And that doesn't mean that your art is bad or that you'll never sell anything. This just wasn't the right market for you. And so I've been thinking about that, and I wanted to make this video to share with you guys some of my thoughts on what I've learned. I just realized that it looks like I have antlers, so I think I need to move over here or something. Okay, I think that's better. So the first reason why I think my art market did not go so well is that it just simply wasn't the right audience for me. Even though I had thought I would do really well with the older crowd and the retirement home, thinking back on my last market, it was younger people and kids who liked my art the most. And I mean, I do paint cute animals, so that makes sense. One of my first paintings that I ever sold was my panda bear original, and that was for a child who loved panda bears. So maybe I'm learning that my art appeals more to younger people, and that is something where I'm not quite sure yet. I have had quite a few older people say they love my floral artwork, but none of it sold at this market. So I'm kind of using this to try to figure out who my target audience really is. And I think the more of these markets that I do, the more clear that that will become. Even though this market had a lot less foot traffic, and I feel like there were a lot more people than the first market, I sold a lot more at the first market. So it's not necessarily the number of people that come to the market, but that it's the right people. And this just, it simply was not the right people shopping. And that kind of goes along with the second thing that I thought of, which is not just the wrong audience, but the wrong venue or the wrong type of market. Like I said, this was a farmer's market. The last one was a craft show. At a farmer's market, I think most of the people were looking for baked goods. There were a lot of people selling bread and cookies, and then of course like fruits and vegetables. So there were crafts there, but I was the only booth selling paintings and artwork. I made a lot of smaller items for people who weren't coming to spend a fortune on art. That's why I've spent like a month making all of these magnets, and I learned how to make bookmarks. You guys saw me laminating them and learning to do that. And so I had a pile of bookmarks and a lot of items, and I thought that having $5 items would really help my sales, especially for those small like impulse buys. But the problem was that there were at least a couple other vendors who were also selling bookmarks. And their bookmarks were like being sold for $1 or $2. And so having competition like that is, I think, made it a lot more difficult for me to sell my smaller items because they appeared overpriced, even though at the other market I was able to sell like a whole bunch of my magnets for $5, and things were priced closer to what my products are priced at that market than this market. Stay cheap. Do not sign up for the really expensive markets until you have done what I mentioned before, until you know that this market will be a good fit for you. Do not spend like $200 for a booth fee, because that would have been so devastating. I would have cried so hard if I lost that much money. But I only lost $5 because my booth fee was $10 and I sold a $5 magnet. So I'm only $5 in the hole, which is still discouraging, but it's not the end of the world. Another thing that I thought about after I was looking back and thinking about all the interactions that I had that day, I actually did get a lot of positive feedback and good interactions. People did stop at my booth and they looked at my artwork, and so many of the people had so many nice things to say. And I genuinely think that they were being real, that they weren't just saying that because they felt uncomfortable or, just compliment that they didn't really mean. But I think that the people really liked my artwork, they just weren't there to buy art. I had a handful of people take a business card, people who were really interested in my pet portraits and were asking questions. And I'm thinking maybe these people just simply couldn't afford or weren't ready to purchase right now. As far as things that I would change, I noticed that there were not many people who wanted to flip through the baskets. I'm wondering if it's intimidating to stand there and flip through a basket while a vendor is watching you. I tried to not stare at the people or bother them while they were shopping, but still, there weren't many people that actually wanted to flip through a basket. They liked looking at the stuff that was eye level and on display. So I'm thinking maybe I need to invest in some kind of display where I can put all of my paintings or show a lot more of my prints than having them all just in baskets on the table. I'm actually thankful and grateful for this failed art market, and here's the reason why. If you never have any bad experiences, then you don't learn, and that's how we improve. And so you go through things and you grow and you learn from that experience. So I'm choosing to look at this as a positive thing, even though at first I was upset and mad about it. But I'm thankful because I feel like, having had an art market that didn't go well, that is going to help me in the long run. And, you know, I started this art business on faith that this is something that I'm called to do. And I'm sticking to that. I believe that God has gifted me with a talent, and that, you know, I'm supposed to be doing this. There's a reason why we go through things. And even something small like, oh, I didn't make any money at an art market can really be used as a positive learning experience. And I have a failed art market on Thursday, and I'm feeling really discouraged and like, why is this happening? Is my art no good? Am I never gonna be successful? And is it going nowhere? And all of those thoughts that we have when we're discouraged. And I got a job yesterday, and the job is an elementary art teacher, which has been a dream of mine since childhood. And I'm gonna be teaching art to kids, and I love kids and I love art, and I'm so excited. So, right in the middle of a negative experience, like, comes a blessing. So, I just wanted to share that because, I mean, even when things seem like they're not going well, don't lose hope. There are better days ahead, better markets ahead, um, and just keep going. I really hope that something I've said in this video helps at least one of you. If any of you have recently had an art market that didn't go so well, or you made zero money, or you lost money, and you've been really discouraged like I was, I just hope that you won't give up. One failed art market is not a failed art business. It is a learning process, and it's just flat out hard in the beginning. And if you've even been doing this for 1 year, that's still considered a beginner. So just keep going and don't give up. So I will see you next time. Bye bye.